Well, everybody, big news in the last couple of minutes. Patrick Bamford and Leeds United agree a termination of his contract, which is big. I think he had around about 2 years left. He's come out, Patrick, and said that he wishes it would have ended in effectively a different way. He'd mentioned that he was getting ready for the Premier League and feels like he could have had a go at it again. That's not quite worked out for Paddy and Leeds United. It's been an era, hasn't it? The end of an era. Me and Paddy, we've not always got along. It's not always been eye to eye, but listen, it's been a time, it's been a period at Leeds United. He's worked under Marcelo Bielsa and Bielsa got the greatest out of him. That was probably the crystallisation of his career, and thank you, Pat, for being part of proceedings at Leeds United. I've thought Pat has needed to go for the past 2 or 3 years now, and I've made that very, very clear. But this isn't a time for that. It is a time for saying to Patrick, thank you for your service with the club. Thank you for your, continued positivity when it comes to Leeds United. And thank you ultimately for those 17 goals in the Premier League, which aided a 9th place finish for Leeds United, including an absolutely glossy, unbelievable hat-trick against Aston Villa, which will live long in my memory. So thanks, Pat. It's been a pleasure. And Leeds United are going to move on. Could that impact PSR when it comes to wages? Could we now get another attacker in? Hopefully. Now, I wanted to touch on, before I get onto this fantastic jersey and the reason why I'm wearing this, but before we've listened to Daniel Farke's press conference, he's mentioned today, which has irked a lot of Leeds fans, including myself to a certain level, but I've never seen this amount of people get upset about it. He's mentioned that effectively he's going to adapt to a 4-2-3-1 formation, which is needed really with the lack of profiles to play a 4-3-3, obviously with Tanaka, obviously with Ampadu being out of this one, but he's spoken about moving to a 4-2-3-1. That's okay, no problem with that. But he was also mentioning in his press conference, and this isn't word verbatim, everybody, but it is paraphrasing, that he will not look to adapt. He will look to play his way. He's worked against Villarreal, Everton and Arsenal, and people were okay with it. We're not just going to adapt now. And this is kind of the problem with Daniel Farke, and the problem that Norwich fans did find with him, and I know that for a fact, in terms of learning from your failure, learning from what might not have worked, and learning maybe to be pragmatic in certain situations and not always thinking that plan A is the right plan. You've got to have a plan B, or you've at least got to make a modification to plan A, which means that you can veer away from that original plan. He doesn't seem to want to do that, which is going to be interesting in the face of a team at the weekend who are very, very press heavy, very, very physical, and set up in set pieces in a way of which is going to hurt Leeds if we decide to go zonally yet again. So that's something to bear in mind. I've got a preview for the Newcastle game coming out tomorrow, everybody, alongside the Room Mill, so it's a busy day on the channel, but that has irked a lot of Leeds United fans, and understandably so. Daniel Farke needs to learn to adapt. He needs to learn to be pragmatic, and if he isn't doing that, the 49ers will take action, and that will happen. Everybody is aware of that. It's almost like the unspoken word right now. But if he fails to adapt in certain games against some of the top opposition, because you can't mark out getting 3 points here and 3 points here and 3 points there. That's not how football works. You've got to make yourself tough to beat. You've got to be compact, and you've got to, at some point, go against some of the big boys and think you can get something out of it. That is how football works. It's all about hope. It's all about prospering. It's all about designing your system to be able to get the best out of it. And that's what Daniel Farke has to do. He has to adapt. He has to be pragmatic. And we'll wait and see if he does that at the weekend, of course, just before the international break leads up against Newcastle, a torched Newcastle side. But the profiles that they can bring in with Thau, with Jacob Ramsey, with Asula are all physical, and we've got to adapt to that. So let's see what that team selection brings at the weekend. But positively, Facundo Buonanotte. It looks like Leeds are getting closer, according to Ben Jacobs and Alex Crook, to the signature of the versatile 3 in behind the front man. And what I mean by that is he can play on the right, he can play centrally, he can play on the left-hand side. Brighton didn't want to loan him out abroad. Why? They wanted to keep him domestically so he gets used a little bit more to the division, of which he did last season. Now, when it comes to squad registration, he is under 21, which is something to bear in mind. It should mean that Leeds United can go out and get another big body. Daniel Farke mentioned today that he'd like to go and get 2 attacking bodies again. It was reported earlier on by Graham Smith that it was just going to be the 1. If Leeds go out now and they've got Facundo Buonanotte, I think that takes Gustavo Hamer completely off the cards. But if you go out and get another number 9, then you're looking at yourself and thinking, okay, you get a number 9 of which we're looking at has a real upward trajectory, has real potential, has real vigour, has real class, quality, calibre. Brilliant. You go out and get a Demirovic. He would be my pick. Go out and get him from Stuttgart. And if Leeds have those coffers, which we had for Muniz, which we've had for Habib Diarra, which haven't quite come off, which we've had for Igor Paixão, I'm hoping that the rumours that we've been speaking about on the channel for the amount of weeks when it's come to Demirovic, Leeds will be able to offer that money to Stuttgart over the next coming days. And if it is a panic buy, then it's a panic buy. Whatever, I don't care. Just get quality through the door, because I think this manager, with maybe the lack of adaptability and pragmatism that he's pretty much said that he's not going to do in this division when it comes to the stylistic build-up and certain personnel being in the sides for certain games, I need this manager to have as much, I need him to have as many tools as possible, because that's what he's going to need to have to keep Leeds United up. So give him as much as possible, and then we can use the rationale later on down the line that, you know, some people might want him out. And I will, if it gets to a stage in which he's not adapting and not being pragmatic and being stubborn, then we can have a real conversation about that on the channel, a serious conversation soon. I'm sure in the boardroom they might be looking at that as well, and maybe having some sort of plan, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But it's good for Daniel Farke that he will be getting someone like Facundo Buonanotte through the door. A really good time at Leicester City. 12 goal contributions. Someone who can work between the lines excellently. From a defence to a midfield perspective as well. He can drop deep, link the lines. I've mentioned at the start, very much a relative level. Reminds me of Bernardo Silva. Brighton don't want to let him go. They don't want to literally sell him because they think he's a really top player. And they can feel they'll develop him and develop him, and he will become a Premier League mainstay. Maybe that they've not thought when it's come to the likes of Julio Enciso, who's still on the market, by the way. But I just think there's a really good player in there, you know, really good balance, really good strike. Go check his strike out against Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. He doesn't look like a powerful boy, but he's got a really good shot efficiency on him with his left and right. He's got evidence for both. I really like his football brain as well, which is key. Means that we can maybe manipulate the Nonto experiment in there in terms of where we put him as well. I think he's going to be a really good linker for the attacking player, but I think the attacking player has to be of a level of which is similar to that of Buonanotte. Put the ball in the back of the net, have a real technical efficiency, have DCL and have Mecha as rotation, and get another body in. With Pat Bamford going out now, that might affect the PSR level. We'll have to wait and see on that one, everybody. But I'm fascinated to hear what you guys think. We will have the preview out tomorrow. We will have the rumour mill out tomorrow, as always, at 10 AM. If you want to catch out my game week predictions as well, we do have the second channel, link in the description below. Check out all of our sponsors. They're all so supportive and brilliant on the channel, everybody. Really appreciate that. But let me know, what do you think about Facundo Buonanotte? Are you happy? Are you disappointed? What are your thoughts on that? Tell me about Gustavo Hamer. Would you have liked that one through the door? Feels like that one isn't going to be getting done now with Facundo likely coming through the door. Also, on a number 9, do you think that is one of the absolute musts for Leeds United this window? I'm Conor McGilligan. We'll be back for the room mill tomorrow morning. It's been an absolute pleasure, everybody. See you on the other side. Cheers.